Start another company called Hello Holiday. It's now blowing up. It's kind of crazy. Next here is Dusty Davidson. Dusty Davidson's been involved with app design and software design and just kind of how to make things work on social media. He is part of Silicon Prairie News. He's got a new startup called Flywheel. Helps do this thing called Big Omaha every spring. We'll be talking about all those things a little bit. Next to Dusty, gent on the end, that's Steve Gordon, aka Ridiculous Creative. He is everything. I would say you're a brand storyteller. You're information narrator.
Well, that's good.
You like that? You like that? I just came up with that right now. Use it. Take it. He not only runs his own ad design and graphic design, basically house, but also just started up about a year or so ago, River City Social Club. Is that a year ago now?
Yeah, River City Social Club, just over a year.
Crazy. So we're here today to talk about social media, here to talk about marketing, here to talk about public relations, here to talk about startups, here to talk about running your own business, here to talk about why would you do it in Omaha? I mean, why? And they'll be able to answer those questions. Please give them a round of applause. As always, if you'd like to post a question on Twitter or just like to have a back channel conversation with any of these folks, use the hashtag #GOUR1500. You'll probably see their accounts pop up here rather quickly. In fact, I put one out earlier today, so it should be up there if you want to talk to them via Twitter. So let's get started. Questions. And I'm just going to throw them out, and then whoever wants to go first. So the first question I've got is, if you had to tell someone, hi, I'm so-and-so, how would you three define yourselves professionally and personally? Because it seems like they kind of intermix with you all. So.
Yeah, you start with the hard one right away.
I'm just going to drop it on you. So.
No one's ever asked me to introduce myself, so it's a very hard question.
You know, you always say, or you've been told you should have your 30-second elevator pitch ready for just that sort of thing. So
you can go longer 30 seconds if you need to.
No, I like to keep it succinct. If someone were to ask me, okay, hi, how are you, who are you, what do you do? I usually introduce myself much like you did. I'm Steve Gordon. I go by Ridiculous, and I'm an identity design specialist and brand strategist. I make brands and make them better.
All right. Dusty.
Yeah, my family has no idea what I do, so notice my wife really. But I always describe myself as a technology entrepreneur, and I sort of leave it at that. And if people want to know more, they ask. But a lot of times it's sort of like,
it's like that's enough.
Sometimes I say I work with computers, and because otherwise people's eyes tend to glaze over. But typically I describe myself as a technology entrepreneur.
In 2005, I started a company called Princess Lasertron, and that really became a brand identity for me personally for a long time after that. And so people would see me and be like, Lasertron, Princess Lasertron, you do this. Like, Dusty likes to tell a funny story about one time I registered for a conference, and I did not mean to do this, like he teases me, but I registered as Princess Lasertron, so that's what my name tag said, and so that kind of became a thing. But like, a little over a year ago, I started Hello Holiday, which is an online women's wear retailer. And so I've been kind of trying to like be Megan Hunt a little bit more instead of going by, a brand name that is part of a company that I'm not really as invested in anymore. But mostly what I do now is I run a company called Hello Holiday. It's an online women's wear retailer, and we work with independent small designers to help them manufacture their clothing and distribute it to a wider audience online.
I'm pulling up anything they're talking about. I'm trying to get on the screen so you can take a look at it as they're chatting. So I've heard now, and we mentioned the term brand already a couple times. Let's talk about it. In this class, we have been playing with advertising, talking about marketing, talking about public relations. One of the things we have to think about is brand. So how would the three of you define brand? And you can get as technological, as philosophical as you want. How do you see it?
It's your space in the world. It's the story you tell. It's the message that you put out into public view. How you dress every morning, what you say, how you speak, how you interact with other people. It starts there, I believe. I believe that having a brand starts on a personal level. Whether we want to admit it or not, we are all a brand of ourselves. From there, it still remains the story, the communication. When you think about ads, marketing, products, specials, Black Friday, shopping, technology, anything that's put out into the world has a story. It has a level of communication that you're trying to put out to public view. And so, to me, a brand is not your logo, that's part of it. A brand is not just what you wear, how you look, that's part of it. But overall, it's the story that you're trying to communicate, the message that you're trying to tell.
To me, a brand is the personality of a company or the personality of a business. And so I think that the term brand kind of became in vogue and started becoming kind of trendy for people to associate with themselves as individuals, because I think that we've seen a big rise in popularity of entrepreneurship in the last 5 to 10 years. And so if you're an entrepreneur and you're starting a business, brand is really important because it's something that people not only associate with your company, but with you as an individual, which is something all three of us up here have experienced as small business owners, both regionally and in the bigger projects that we do on a more national or worldwide scale. So I'm not part of like the church of brand. Like I'm not going to evangelize like you need to get your brand right. I just think you need to like be a good person and be secure and have a personal identity that you're comfortable with, and that you and as an entrepreneur, like I'm also like hyper aware of how that represents my company, and so that's how it kind of becomes conflated a little bit.
I agree with all that, and I would add one thing is that for me, brand is the experience of it's the experience of interacting with something, right? Like we run a conference called Big Omaha, and the logo is a cow. It's a technology and sort of creative conference where we invite sort of big names from entrepreneurs from around the country, the CEO of Zappos.com, and the CEO of Foursquare, the CEO of Pinterest. You've heard of that, ladies. And
I have a Pinterest board, man.
and Adam. The conference is, the logo is the cow, but the experience of being there is the brand, right? It's the experience of walking in, and there's in the morning for breakfast, there's chocolate-covered bacon sort of frying up, right? Like, what is that experience? And what is the experience of listening to these great speakers and not being bored? I always say, like, I hate going to conferences, and then now we run like a handful of them. And I said, well, if we're going to run a conference, how would we do it in a way that doesn't suck for me? And that becomes the experience. And then what people take away from that is the brand of Big Omaha, the expectation that when I go there, not only are things going to be beautiful, and not only is it going to be, but it's going to be highly interactive, and I'm going to take away from there just great experience. And so, people think on some level that the cow is Big Omaha, but in reality, it's just the time that you spend there and like how that makes you feel.
We got one question already up on Twitter here. So, and this really is interesting since eCreamery just did this and they made a genius move by doing this. What do you guys think about the ABC show Shark Tank as a way for entrepreneurs to get their start? Because after talking with the owners of eCreamery, they got exactly what they wanted. Their sales blew up after that.
Yep.
Even though they walked away without taking the offer, it still blew up.
And that's why I answered the way that I did on the tweet. I think it's exactly what it is. It's a sensationalized show that gives you what you want in terms of entertainment value. I think it's real. Obviously, for eCreamery, it turned out to be real. But I think you get out of it what you want, but not to be fooled, that's not the real process. So eCreamery did a great thing. They got the sensationalism out of it, but they had a great product and a great business to back it up so that when the attention did shine on them, they were able to answer the bell.
Yeah, I think they filmed like
Over an hour.
We talked about this last night, actually.
Yeah.
They filmed it like
Did we?
like an hour or more of footage they cut down into like a 4-minute segment. And it's very
And they
much
just spend that hour trying to have a dramatic situation happen that they can show on TV.
Yeah,
Like,
they're poking at you, trying to get you to say the right thing.
oh, I would cry my ass
I
off.
can't
could
actually
not
watch
do
it. It
that.
makes me uncomfortable to watch it. I'm like, I don't know. It's weird. But but I think like everybody said, I mean, the promotional value of the millions of people that watch it are huge. And I know that the founders over there, they didn't take the deal, but they got customers, and they also had other investors call because it's not just ice cream buyers that watch the show. And I think that that's probably the case with most of the people that go on a show like that. But that said, there's real value to be had in the sort of feedback, and there's value in the process of getting up in front of people and pitching. So
I'd act a fool. I'd get my Kanye on.
Oh my God.
You get your Kanye on?
I would
You
act
grab
that.
the mic.
I would seriously act an idiot on there. Just because of the sensationalism of it. I know what the process is. I know you're trying to cut me down into segments that's going to sound like, literally sound clip. Take my words, piece them together. So I'm like, so let me give you a show. And then you talk to me afterwards.
My partner and I started filling out the application for the show because we're like, yeah, like we budget so much money for marketing, and we're like, this is literally like the best marketing we could get. And we talk about that too. We're like, okay, so what would we do if we got on? Like, what crazy shit would we do on this TV show?
The meat don't inherit the earth on that kind of show.
No, but I know I would just, I don't think I would take those investors seriously. I would take it seriously as an opportunity to introduce my company to, the mainstream world. And I think that another huge value of that show, not for the entrepreneurs that are on it, but for our culture, is that it's really putting, although it's manufactured and it's not realistic, it's putting a mainstream spotlight on startup culture. And there are a lot of companies on there that are silly, like they always in each episode, they have a couple of companies that are just gonna fail. Like it's just a product or something stupid or I don't know what, but.
There's some horrible.
Yeah, but there's some really good ones.
It's like
and
the first
it's-
week of American Idol.
Yeah.
Like
Oh, yeah.
the guy in the tutu and the Viking
Yeah,
hat are not gonna
exactly.
get big.
I just like seeing,
What?
Well, maybe.
real
He'll make
business
it a second
owners
week for ratings.
having the stage on a worldwide scale. I think that's cool.
Tutu and Viking hat.
There's something there.
That's awesome.
I'd wear that. I don't care.
There's a Vikings fan out there that wears it. I can almost guarantee it. So the word startup came up, so I want to go that direction. All three of you have gone through the process. So tell us about the various companies that you have started. Which ones have worked? Which ones have not? And then walk us through how that got you where you are right now. And whoever wants to start.
I absolutely hate the term startup because it implies that there's no finish. Every company is a startup. Every damn company on the planet has a start point. So I think it's a buzzword, it's trendy. I'm not really a fan of it.
Right.
However, that being said, with every company is a startup, I've been a part of several. I started because of my footwear passion. I love sneakers and shoes and fashion. I helped to start an app called Kinda Sure, which is, the short of it is it's like an Instagram just specifically for footwear. So if you don't want to sift through food pics, go to Kinda Sure to get your shoe pics.
So shoe point.
Yeah, shoe point. Absolutely shoe point.
Okay.
Kidding me? The big busty kind. So,
All my shoes are on there, so yeah.
and then helping to not so much start up, but revamp the brand and get the brand on track with River City Social Club. They actually started previous to me being a part of it. It's a streetwear boutique that's currently located underneath Liquid Courage Tattoo. Helping get them on track and change some of how the brand was being perceived, because in that sense there wasn't a brand, it was just a shop. And then with myself, being that I don't, as a designer, my product is my brain. It's how I think. It's the information that I help my clients decipher, getting their stories on track. But that's a startup nonetheless, going through the process of being a registered business. Someone once gave me the advice that you are not a company, but you have to run yourself like a business. So that's a startup. And then my own offshoot apparel and accessories line, Ridiculous Goods and Club, which was really an accident. Didn't want to start it up. It kind of started itself.
You
But
did too want to.
I didn't. I just want to make fly clothes.
That's
You
okay.
made me do it. Tell them. We were at a conference, a mini conference. We were at bar camp, and I had told Megan that I wanted to make some clothing, and a mutual friend of ours also
We
got
were
on the
really
case.
drunk at the time.
We were. And a mutual friend of ours told me he got sick of hearing me say, I should. He was like, damn it, just do it. And so then
But you're like, if I say that I'm going to do it, though, I have to do it.
Exactly. And so Megan made me say it. I told her that. I said, I'm not telling anybody, because if I say it, I have to stay true to my word. I hate when people just talk crap, say they're going to do something, all just for the hype.
So
And
then he's giving this speech.
and so she makes me say it in
And he's
public.
like, any questions? And I'm like, what's the thing you're working on right now?
Triggeration. I'm like, damn it. Now I got to do it. On to you, sir.
I've started a couple of things. Yeah. And I would say that when I was in college, I never thought, or before, I didn't think I would be an entrepreneur ever, right? I was sort of down a pretty standard path of graduate, get a job, get married, have kids, live happily ever after. And my first job was in corporate America, and I was there that I describe it as my corporate soul-sucking job. And it was there that I realized that, I didn't want to be stuck in this cubicle all day, every day, doing something that I hated doing, and more specifically being surrounded by people that I didn't enjoy being surrounded by. Like, I was passionate about what I did, and I wanted to work really hard. I wanted other people to work really hard alongside me. And so decided to start a company to create that environment, right? The type of place where I wanted to go to work every day. And the theory was that maybe other people would want to come work with us as well. And so that was a software consulting company called BrightMix. It eventually turned into a software company called Triple Seat, which sells software to restaurants around the country. Along that path, in a sort of a similar vein, we started a company called Silicon Prairie News, which runs the Big Omaha Conference. And the reason we started that was it's a blog that highlights entrepreneurs and startups. And we wanted to find more people like us. So we said, we kind of like technology, we like startups, we like great culture, we like innovation, we like creative things. Who else out there likes those things? Because when I was in college, I didn't know it existed. I went and got a soul-sucking job because I thought that it was the only thing that I could do. And it turns out there's a whole ton of people out there that are doing things like us in this region. And so Silicon Prairie News was that. And just recently started a new thing called Flywheel, which is a WordPress hosting company. So I kind of have a long history in a short amount of time of starting companies. But like I said, never really intended to. For me, it was always about, I just want to be passionate about something, and I want to, life's too short to sit in a cube and hate your job. And so for me, the solution was to start it myself.
It's all very true. Very good advice. So in 2005, I started Princess LaserTron when I was in college because, like a lot of crafting businesses start, I was making things and my friends all wanted to buy them. And so I started selling them on Etsy online in 2005. And eventually, some magazines picked up what I was making, and a lot of influential bloggers started sharing my work. And it snowballed into this out-of-control thing, and I ended up moving into an office and hired a bunch of people, and we made bouquets and dresses for over 400 brides every year at our peak, and that was insane. And so that was my bread and butter for a long time. In the middle of that, I started a co-working space called Camp with a couple of friends. That ran its course after a couple years, and I decided to transition and start a new company with a friend of mine called Hello Holiday. Doing Princess LaserTron, I learned a lot of skills. I learned a lot of technical skills that about design and manufacturing and sewing and all of these things. But my passion is really business and organization and kind of like management type stuff. And so I didn't want to be in that role forever. So I partnered with someone who's really passionate about fashion and style and loves working with customers. And we started this company, Hello Holiday, to find other designers who loved sewing and loved design and, you know, had fan bases that were already there. And so with Hello Holiday, we started helping them distribute their clothing. We're hoping to build something a little bit like ModCloth, I guess, except that how many of you are familiar with that? Maybe any ladies here? Yeah, so that's kind of the type of model that we're trying to improve upon. And so there's a lot of ideas that we have about that. And as we're bootstrapping the company, which means we're self-funding it with business loans and our own profits are always going back into the company, we're just kind of moving along with that as quickly as we can. But eventually we hope to raise some investor capital and build out the type of website that we want so we can really offer the kind of support to the designers and connect them with the customers in the way that we've been visualizing since we started. So yeah, I went from Lasertron to camp to now Hello Holiday, and that's my story.
So the question just popped up here actually, how do you fund, to go along with Bootstrap idea, how do you fund your respective companies in the beginning, Bootstrap VC, et cetera, and what's that process like, trying to go out and say, hey, I've got this idea, please give me money?
Well, I've raised venture capital dollars, and it's like my corporate job, soul sucking. It's actually not that bad. So I tell the story. I tell the story of the time that we raised venture capital for Triple Seat, where a local investor had just, my partner, who's in Boston, had tried to raise money for about a year. He called me up one day and he said, hey, I'm having problems. I don't know if we can build this done. I said, well, I know some venture capitalists because I started this website, Silicon Prairie News, right? We have relationships with these people. We cover them. We write about them. We know them. I said, why don't I make some phone calls? And I picked up the phone and I called the guy. And he said, that sounds interesting. Can I come over to your office? And he sat in my basement. I told him about the idea. And he goes, how about $500,000? And so that was the first time I raised money. So my impression was that it takes 45 minutes to get money raised. But the reality is it's a whole lot harder than that. In fact, we're raising money for Flywheel right now. So if anybody wants to contribute, we'll pass the hat later. But and it's really hard. And you have to, and I'd say the hardest thing about it at this point is two things. One is convincing people that not only that your idea is good, but that it's sufficiently big, like it's going to be.
They're going to get their money back.
That they're going to get their money back. And two, actually the hardest part about it is like actually doing work while you're raising money.
That's
so
exactly right.
Raising money is a huge pain in the ass. It takes a lot of time. And what you aren't doing while you're out talking to investors is like selling things to clients, which is the thing that you need to be doing to grow and to put food on the table and all these sorts of things. So, you know, I'm a big proponent of bootstrapping in the sense that not taking investor dollars, but at the same time,
And putting your own skin in the game.
putting your own skin in the game. For instance, Flywheel, we've worked really hard on our own dollars for a long time, and now are at a point where investor dollars really help us get to the next level. So you sort of like, it's not just investment for the sake of investment. We've done the time, we've put in the work, and now we've proven out the concept, and we've proven that it's a big opportunity, and so we take on dollars as a way to really sort of scale it up. And so, I mean, it's
You kind of hit a ceiling where it's like, there's no more you can grow until you get a whole bunch of capital so you can,
higher more people.
yeah, just
Right.
have more labor.
We're also hiring, by the way.
What are you hiring for right now, Dustin?
We're hiring support people and marketing people. We're looking for internships for the spring and summer here shortly. So, engineers, always looking for engineers.
I feel similar to Dusty. I never tried to raise money with Princess Lasertron because I didn't need to. Like, it just went out of, it really like burned out pretty much. Like, it was just like the trendiest thing on earth for like a minute, and then it was like can't even get a customer for nothing. And so I'm glad I moved on from that. But yeah, we're pretty much in the same place as flywheel from what we've spoken about. Like we've, put in our own money and we make a healthy profit, and so all of that goes back into the company. And the profit, is what tells us that it's working and we're growing and people like what we're selling. And so, we work on our investor pitch a little bit every day, but we actually have to do work every day for, 8 to 12 hours. And so anytime we get left over, it's just like, so yeah, it's really hard to scale because we know how big it can be, but when it's just 2 people running the whole thing,
I think that's a really
Invest
important
in money
fact
helps.
is the scale of it. They
Okay.
both mentioned it, and it's absolutely true. I'm in the business of ideation. Think is my product. So for me, it was just a matter of being able to cover the things I needed from an equipment standpoint, from a space standpoint, to do my job, and then just hustle. I just generationally, culturally, I just come from a different background of, oh God, I don't even like borrowing money from friends. Damn that. I'll get it. And likewise on scale, I'll scale back until I can get it. And then when I can, I'll make that happen. So I think scale is really important. Knowing, you don't have to have the whole big picture figured out, but knowing what you want the end result to somewhat be and knowing how to get there is really important, because then you're not acquiring debt and accumulating something that you have to pay off eventually and not knowing how you're going to do that. So I just for me, I'm in the fortunate position of being able to take it as I come, or take it as it comes, because I plug into other companies to help them with their branding and marketing. And then when the check is cashed, I'm off onto the next project. So I am my product. So as long as I can stay healthy and upright, I'm good.
If you want to start a business, I think my best advice as far as funding is it's a good idea to keep your day job, whether that's like at a gas station or at Burger King or working for your dad or mom or some soul-sucking cubicle job. Like, keep that job, save your money, live as frugally as you can, because if you want to start something, that's the way you show your commitment to your passion, to your idea, is you cut back, on the luxuries a little bit, and you make the right decisions so you have enough money to start it yourself. And then it's a lot easier to convince other people, future partners, to come on board with you.
So I want to move, before I jump into the question I've written down here, any questions from the floor that I want to grab quick? Looking for hands. Nope. All right, so let's move into back into the mass media realm here. Advertising and marketing, there's a different philosophy now in 24/7 real time. Everyone's got some sort of device going, and everyone can see things instantaneously. How do the three of you, what kind of philosophy do the three of you follow when it comes to advertising your product, marketing your product, particularly in this kind of social media glutton age? How do y'all do it?
At Hello Holiday, we try to talk to our customers like our friends, because we want our brand for Hello Holiday. We want the store to feel like a friendly store, like a company you would want to be friends with if it was like manifested as a person. So we talk to our followers on Twitter. We reply to their tweets, not just ones they make to us, but if someone tweets like, look at this cool dress I got at Target, or I'm having a bad day, or this ice cream is delicious, whatever people say on Twitter, I probably spend 20 minutes a day throughout the day just replying to people who follow us, just to show them that we're engaged.
And you do that not as Megan, but I mean,
As Hello Holiday.
like Hello Holiday
Yeah.
personified,
Yes.
right?
Yes. And so we do that, and we one platform that we really used a lot actually is Instagram. I think that companies are underutilizing Instagram kind of on the whole. So one thing we do is we incentivize our customers to share their purchases on Instagram by giving them a coupon code if they share it. So when they open their package, they put it on and take a little cute selfie, and then they tag us in it. Then they get a discount on their next purchase, because what they're basically doing when they do that is marketing for us. They're distributing our product to all of their followers, and it hardly costs us anything. So that's a big marketing push that we do. Basically just trying to represent ourselves as a friendly brand, which for me and Sarah, my partner, isn't hard, because we love the internet, we grew up on the internet, and it's really fun running a company where we can use our strengths that way.
we do something very similar with Flywheel, and that, like, you know, they're
You guys do great.
our number one, we copy what they do. We're not competitive, so we just, it was like, if our hosting company was a fashion online store, what would we do? You know, our number one source of new customers is referrals from other customers, and historically, and it's probably been the case, you know,
It's probably for most businesses.
throughout history even. And the thing that's neat about Twitter and Facebook and all these sorts of things, Instagram, is that we can track it on some level, but really you can engage with people. You can ask them to refer you, and you can see it. So we do things like, you know, somebody signs up for Flywheel, we just ask them to tweet about us. Like, they don't have to. They don't. It's not required. But you find about half the people just tweet, "Hey, just sign up for Flywheel. I'm really excited about it." And or when they launch a site, they can tweet about that, right? Like, these are ways in which we empower our customers and new customers to spread the word about us just by asking sort of for them to do so. And you know, the power of that is really, really good, because that obviously sort of goes on to their followers and is much, much more authentic than if it were to come from us, for instance. And at the same time, we try and be a personable brand in the same way as Megan does. Like I said, we copied him because our competitors are not. We're a web hosting company, right? We host websites, and that sounds like the most dry, gross, sort of
Like just looking at your
technique.
website compared to your competitors' websites, it's so much more accessible and approachable.
Yeah, it's
Like a company you want to be friends with.
prettier. Like, if you're going to be friends with your hosting company, we want you to be friends with us. And so,
See, look how cute.
isn't that pretty?
So cute.
Compared to like DreamHost, what's one?
We
Just
say,
ugly. Don't even use it.
no pictures of servers anywhere. That's our rule. And so, in doing that, I mean, we build an audience of people that follow us and enjoy our sort of interactions with them and these sorts of things in a way that none of our competitors are doing. Because our competitors are not trying to be personable. They're trying to, I don't know, maybe
Trying to make money.
they're probably trying to make money, I don't know. But you know, this is what we get excited about. We want to build long-lasting relationships with our customers. And we want to do that, and I think that social media allows us to scale that in a way that if we were a local business, we could do that, right? You know the people that come in and buy coffee every morning. You know the people that come into your shop. But on the internet, it's so much bigger, obviously, right? We don't want hundreds of customers. We want tens of thousands of customers. And something like Twitter allows us to scale those kind of one-on-one connections and relationships in a way that is pretty cool. So, yeah.
Here's the truth of it from me. Colleges are turning out people that can do something similar to what I can do literally every 6 months. That's kind of frightening when you think that some of you in this room are going to do exactly what I do. You're going to be coming after my job, my clients, the things that I do to put food on my table, the things I'm passionate about. It's a crowded world. So thinking that you are so individual that you're just literally going to make your mark, you're going to stamp it yours, and no one in the world is going to get over that. But you're you. You are unique to yourself. So I actually learned this from Megan in terms of how to do it. I saw her do it, and I'm like, wow, that is really, really interesting in how she goes about being personable to her client base. I'm a former world-class track and field athlete. I had a recording contract as a producer and a DJ. I make a great cup of coffee because I used to be a barista. There's a million things that I've done in my life that are super interesting. Who gives a care about how fancy a logo I can make? Really, no one, because there's a bunch of people that can do that. But if I can tell that story along with the other things I do in a really interesting way, I'm a creative professional. The clients I work with become more enamored with the life I live as opposed to the work I can do, because they can get that work anywhere. The truth is, they can get it on Logo Farm. They can go on an internet website and get the crappiest quick start logo that they can find and go on about their business. But I'd like to think that if I'm being myself with my fingerprint, living my life as big as I possibly can, as interesting as I can possibly do it, then that adds to it. So for me, it was all about telling my story. And that's what I learned from Megan. I'm terribly thankful about that, because in watching her do that, like, you're right, what you do is somewhat unique, but similar to what other people are doing. So it's really about the story that you tell. And that's where I go back to what I said initially about having a brand. Whether you want to admit it or not, you have a brand. Is there something you do every day? Is there a routine that you follow, a style of dress you like, the way you speak, the things you do? They're unique to you and how you do it. And that flavors what it is you do. Dusty left his soul-sucking corporate job because the truth is he had to do it his way. His life wasn't being fulfilled. He was a number in a corporate job of millions of people who are doing the same thing. So for me, it became about telling the story. That's why a major part of my website is the life and times of Ridiculous. I don't necessarily call it my blog. It's not news. It's just follow along, see what I'm doing. I'll talk about work. I'll talk about life. I'll talk about travel or other things I'm up to. And while you're at the site, yes, you can go on and look at some of the work, which I'm glad to show.
Including pictures of the people, now they're all looking at themselves on the screen. Look at themselves.
I didn't know I did that. Right?
So a question came across on Twitter, and then I've got a question about why here in Omaha. The question on Twitter was, do you think the same rules y'all are talking about, the same motivations, the same practices y'all are talking about, will still apply for nonprofit as opposed to for-profit organization?
Absolutely. I've worked for a nonprofit as a corporate job. I've worked for a nonprofit as my client. Here's the thing to know about nonprofits. This is the short of it. I know it's more complicated than this. Nonprofits have money. They get it up front, and they have to spend it down. For-profits make money on their product. Hello, girl. So that's the thing, is like, it's still the same operating mode when you're talking about marketing. It's still a product. It's still a message that they want to get out there. They're still a brand. And most times, the most successful nonprofits are acting like for-profits. Because again, the money's there. It's just happening up front and spending it. It's basically they get a budget and they have to spend it down, versus a for-profit, meaning we have to pump this product out to cover our costs and then make some more money.
And a lot of times they have a better ability to build a following of people that are really passionate and care about the organization, right? If you're selling, waffles or something, like, it's a lot harder to get people to care about that. If you're curing cancer or you're helping the homeless or whatever it might be, that's, there are people that intrinsically really care and want to share your message and want to help in lots of ways. And so, in addition, in fact, I agree with Steve 100%, right? Nonprofit is just a tax classification, right? Has nothing to do with how one should run their business.
Or how hard you work,
Or
or
how
how
hard they work.
creative you are about marketing it.
It's just sort of does one file this tax return or this tax return? That's really all it is. And people care and want to help with causes. And the best nonprofits are the ones who capitalize on that and realize that they have huge audiences that they can tap into and empower to spread the message and do more good because of their reach, right? Charity Water, to me, is the classic example of that. If you're not familiar, charitywater.org, they provide clean water to people they drill wells in Africa, and they do an amazing job with branding. They do an amazing job with social media. They do an amazing job with lots and lots of things. But they're a nonprofit. I mean, but they're at the absolute top of the game when it comes to being a nonprofit. But because they run it just like a top of the game for-profit.
I think there are so many local nonprofits that also serve as great examples of nonprofits that are run like businesses. And because they aren't really selling a product, they have so much leeway to get so creative with their marketing and design. There's In Common Community Development, Nebraska Appleseed, Justice for Our Neighbors, Union for Contemporary Art. There's just like a couple I can think of off the top of my head. I'm really involved in Omaha area youth orchestras, and every couple of weeks we have a meeting and we get together and we're like, how can we get more people to know about what we do? And there's basically no limit to like how we're allowed to engage people with that. And that's really inspiring to me about the world of nonprofits as someone who doesn't come from that. But I'm kind of coming to a place right now in my life. I'm in my late 20s. I have a little bit of money. I've had my share of like opportunities to be a leader in this community. And so now I'm starting to get really interested in nonprofits here in Omaha. And I love seeing what they do because they do market so creatively. And there's also so many opportunities for partnerships with local businesses and nonprofits. Like there's so many companies, design companies, all these businesses that are local that work together with nonprofits. And so it's so easy to get involved with them, and it's so easy to convince business to get involved with you.
Very cool. We brought up the next word I want to talk about. Omaha. Y'all are from here or across the river? You all have started your businesses here. You're thriving here. Why Omaha? I mean, of all the places you could have, set up shop, dropped anchor, said, yeah, I'm gonna do it. Why here? So, I mean, and being an expat from Minneapolis, it's cool to see what's going on here. It is really cool. So, why here?
My joke is that I'm from Council Bluffs, so it was like, if you've ever been to Council Bluffs, then sort of like, you can understand. Inevitably, there's a
You really got out of there, didn't
Only
you?
he can say that though.
Yeah,
If you're from Omaha, don't say that about Council Bluffs.
Inevitably, there's the one person in the classroom that's like, I
Every
love
year,
Council Bluffs.
someone's like, what's wrong with council every year?
Let's wait and see what pops up.
Is that right? No, there was a time in my life where I was hell-bent on being anywhere but here. I think virtually all young people are like that. And like for me, California was the place, right? Like Silicon Valley, if you're a technologist, is Mecca. And so as I looked and said, again, I don't want to be stuck in this shitty job. I want to be a part of something interesting. For me, California was the place where you go, right? Like you go to work at Google, or Facebook didn't exist, but Facebook, or these kind of things. And you work at these places that are doing really interesting things. And happenstance would have it that I ended up going, and that's how I decided, sort of like, as you sort of peel back the onion here, see, actually there's a ton of that stuff going on here. It's just nobody knows about it. And it's kind of under the radar. And so, for me, it was one of thinking that I needed to go somewhere else in order to achieve what I wanted. And in reality, it actually exists here, or you can build it. And in many ways, you can build it a whole heck of a lot easier here than you can elsewhere. The reality is that if you want to make an impact, or you want to build something substantial or significant outside, even in Chicago or San Francisco, like your ability to do so from a financial perspective and from just a pure impact perspective is significantly less than here. And by the way, families here. So I mean, there's something to be said about that as you sort of go through life. So those reasons for me. Plus now I'm just stuck here.
You're stuck here.
There's nothing wrong with living here. Like our cost of living is low.
Did you see the ice on our windshield?
That wasn't ice.
Problem living
That wasn't
here.
freaking ice. That was little pebbles of
You're
things.
from Canada, so
I think that if you're someone who thinks you need to go move somewhere to do something you really want to do, barring like you physically can't do it here or
Like
something.
scuba diving.
Yeah, whatever. Like
Scuba
I want to
diving.
be a sea fisherman. I don't know what.
a sea fisherman. That's
It's
good.
the first thing I think of. Why? But yeah, if you think that, well, if I only lived in New York, I could be an actor. If I only lived in Palo Alto, I could run Facebook. Like no, like if you have the skill and the passion, you're going to do it wherever you are. And so I $600 a month. I pick somewhere where I can have a 3,000 square foot office for $700 a month, where there are loads of talented students coming out of our universities here regionally who can come work for me, and when you do work online, you can live wherever you want. And so I like having a low cost of living because that leaves money left over for me to invest in my business, to travel, to show my daughter the rest of the world and introduce her to other cultural experiences. It really gives me the ability to have a personal life as well as a business, where if I lived, I could do this anywhere, but I love Omaha. And I'm invested in this community and helping build a community that will inspire other people to stay here.
Where's Steph and Paul at?
Stefan, is it you?
Shit, man, I'm trying to work it in. You can't just throw it out gratuitously.
He said, I don't give a care if that.
I know, listen to this guy.
I don't even know you.
I'm trying to work it in for him. I promise there'll be more. I feel like you bait me with this question every year.
Because I love your story, man. It's awesome.
All right, why the hell not Omaha? I'm from here. I grew up in North Oak my entire life. I love Omaha for everything it is. And most people would then say the rest of that statement would be, and I hate it for everything it's damn that. I love it for everything it's not, because it makes me want to go out and get something. But the truth is, if everyone complains and everyone leaves, then nothing good comes back home. I lived in New York, loved it. I still go back quite often. Proves nothing. It's not the city that never sleeps. New York goes the fuck to sleep. I'm telling you.
There it is.
Just needed to work it in the right way. Nothing gratuitous. It's part of the story. Everybody has this myth that it's better somewhere else. People in Queens complain about coming into Manhattan. People in Brooklyn just don't come to Manhattan. I was just out in Los Angeles with one of my mentors that works out at ABC. And we're talking about it in neighborhoods and where people are going. And I wanted to go get a bite to eat late at night. We couldn't find anything. I'm like, come on, man, this is LA. I can get this back home. Like, everything shuts down at 2 o'clock. It's no different anywhere else. So why the hell not home? Why not cast a big net, grab some big fish, and bring them back here? So that I'll go out and take bullets for you. I guarantee I will. Just stand the hell up and do something, and don't complain about what. Is she wearing a TARDIS hat?
Yeah.
Oh my God! Last week, was it not the best?
We got some massive movies in here.
Love it. Boobians, I love you.
We talked Dr. Who.
Sorry, that just blew my mind. Oh my God. That's awesome. Made my day. Seriously, like Megan said, your money goes long here. You have national clients and you make national client money, you can cut a slice of that and live in Omaha and put the rest away. It works. The myth that it's better somewhere else. The grass is greener somewhere else. That's bullshit. It is complete and utter nonsense. So why Omaha for me? Because with the internet being what it is, with plane tickets being what they are, if you can buy them far enough in advance, I can get anywhere, I can work anywhere. If I have a signal, I'm working. I was, like I said, I was out in California a couple weeks ago. I didn't miss any client work or anything. I had access to all of my email. I traveled around. Came back home. The only thing that I came back to was colder weather, and I complained a little bit about that. But then I was able to put on my really sweet crew neck.
Your
And my jammies. I'm walking around jammies. But I will say this. In order to have that perspective, you might have to go and experience something else.
Yeah.
I had to leave to appreciate home. I had to go somewhere and watch people complain. I'm like, I'm in New York. I'm staying at a friend's place. I got keys to the apartment, so I fly in, get locked down. I go get my favorite slice of pizza, and I put the word out. Boom, social media, telephone. Hey, yo, your boy is here. Let's go do some stuff. We don't come above the 70s before the weekend. What? So they live on 63rd and 3rd, and they won't come see me on 83rd and 3rd because they don't do that before Friday? The hell out of here. This is New York. I'm like, I'll hop the subway, I'll come to you. Now let's just wait. It got on my nerves when I would hear people complain about Omaha. And yeah, sure, we lack some things. We're in the valley, we're in the bowl between the coasts, and things do get here slower. That's just the process, that's just how it happens. Shut up complaining about it. We're gonna get things a little bit slower. You know why? Because there's nobody like me. Nobody's going out to get the good shit and bring it home. They're all complaining about it and then shoving it to the coast. I'm leaving. I'm out of here. I'm going to Portland. Get your ass to Portland then. Throw on whatever, thick socks you need, crunch on lots of granola, go be trendy. Cool with me. Get the hell out of here. It frustrates me so much.
It does.
To hear people complain. Nah, I'm cool. I'm good. What was the question? Yeah, I forgot. By now, he's got me so amped up. I just need some lunch and a nap.
I think it's good to figure out where you want to live and go there. And I know I want to live here, and so I'm really invested in making this a place that people want to live.
Yeah, people always ask. I mean, we run the site Silicon Prairie News, and we really, in many ways, are evangelizing the Silicon Prairie, right, the middle of the country, and saying, we want to be as known for technology as we are for porn. Whether that's achievable, I don't know. But we get the question a lot, like why Omaha or these sorts of things, and I always say, why not? Like, this is where I want to be. Next question. And so I think there's an assumption, especially from people on the coast, that you're sort of like why? Like, I don't understand why you're there.
I think that's what it is for me. I get so angry when it's like some sort of weird, I'm sorry.
Yeah, right?
Like, you're in Omaha. Oh. You couldn't make it elsewhere, or
you never got out.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
like, I'm here because I want to be, and I'm gonna try and kill it the best way possible. But quit patting me on the back and rubbing my head like Omaha's some horrible consolation prize that I chose because I was losing everywhere else. That is not the case. So that's why I get so angry about it.
Yeah, I think, again, it's sort of like we choose to be here, we're excited to be here, and next question.
So I've got a couple questions for you then. So one question came across Twitter. When companies become the face of web design, clothing, etc., so they become like the pinnacle of that, how do you work the marketing around? How do you, I don't know if you want to
compete against them? Like, what do you mean?
How do you want to expand on that at all?
I just mean say Walmart saturates the market with their the people that go to other stores and they check the prices of other stores and they lower their prices accordingly to the point where it runs those stores out of business. How do you work around say I don't know what's Coach with your clothing? How do you work around selling purses?
You give
from Coach?
up. I just don't. I just quit. I just give up. I'm like, I'll never be that. I don't want to be anything. Well, I think what you need to do is live your life and run your business like you don't know what other people are doing. You gotta think of yourself in a vacuum. What would I do if I didn't know what was done? And fuck up. It doesn't matter what anyone else is doing. It doesn't. It's just like literally, if you give a shit about what other people are doing, you're never gonna be able to do your own thing. And people always say like, ooh, have you always heard that since you were in junior high? Like, I don't care what you think. I'm my own person. Like, it's so dumb to say that.
I was gonna say, shit, I care.
I know, I care so much. I care so much what people think about me, but I don't. It's just let's be real about what we need to care about, what we don't need to care about.
And I think there's lots of ways to differentiate oneself in a market, and price is one.
Customers, a lot of customers want more than that.
What is the feeling of work? What's the feeling that I get from buying from Walmart versus Hello Holidays, right? I think that somebody who's looking purely at price is going to go to Walmart every time.
Regardless of what's being offered.
Yeah,
that's
the thing. Yeah.
And Coach the same way, right? Coach has their place in the market in terms of price and brand, and I think it all comes down to. I agree with Megan that competitors are less important than one might think. You kind of got to know your place in the world. You got to establish.
Customers want diversity. They want to feel like they're making a choice.
Yeah, the world.
And so the more choices you can provide, customers love that. They don't,
Yeah, I mean, the world's a big place. I mean, you know, for everybody who wants you know, a Coach purse, I mean, my guess is that a lot of people buy, I don't know, my wife buys Coach purses, so I should be careful. But for the people who buy Coach purses wants a Coach purse, right? I think it's a lot about the experience of having a Coach purse versus somebody who buys from Hello Holiday. And by the way, not mutually exclusive.
you can have both.
You can
yeah.
have both. And
I
they
have a
buy-
Coach purse.
They
you know,
buy from Hello Holiday for different reasons. And so, you know, I think that there's ways to take Megan's point, you define who you are and why someone would buy from you. Maybe that's price, maybe that's the experience of it, maybe that's because we have something that other people don't have. Maybe it's a combination of all those things. But there's a lot of ways to differentiate kind of in a marketplace other than you know, against competition.
Well,
And the same thing,
that's where I come in. That's my job.
That's right.
Is to differentiate those things, decide who wants what, at what level they want it. Like Dusty said, if you're shopping at Walmart, you're shopping at Walmart. That's what you want, that's the level that you aspire to at whatever product you need. Coach sells less, raises the price. They make their margin based on a supposed higher brand of quality and exclusivity, which to some people equals the value. Price is what you pay, value is what you get. If you want exclusivity, you want something that someone else can't have or can't really reach or aspire to, great, that's my brand. I've watched people purchase products and services based on that. And it's not always about fashion or trend or things like that. Did you know that the motor oil that Walmart sells is the exact same motor oil that comes from the exact same factory as the Valvoline Max Life? Same stuff, different package. Because of how discerning that customer is going to be and the level that they want to aspire to. Well, I want to feel like I put Valvoline in my car because their commercials are better, they're NASCAR endorsed or whatever. I'm not going to buy my motor oil from Walmart. Well, Walmart doesn't give a damn. Came from the same factory, you know? So a lot of it is back to branding and messaging. We like to think we think for ourselves. I guarantee you I can make you think differently. That's my job.
I always say, if I actually drink Diet Mountain Dew because it's delicious or because I was, like, told to drink it?
You wanted to do the do, man.
I think it's delicious.
You
We
like
all do what we're
aspartame?
told to do.
What's that?
You like the flavor of aspartame?
Fuck you.
Yeah, it tastes
I have to pee so bad, you'll have no idea.
it tastes the same in your pants fit.
Yeah.
Sure.
It's not tasting the same.
Nobody watches Friends.
Nobody.
We just want to die sooner.
So hopefully that answered.
Got a question that came across the board about mentorship. You brought up the word of mentors. How important has mentorship been? Do you have mentors? Where do you see yourself now? I mean, because like it or not, y'all are in mentor roles. Nope, you're not?
I was going to say you were my mentor, but forget it.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're in a mentor role whether you know it or not, whether you like it or not. I like it, but not for the reasons of saying I'm someone's mentor, because I wouldn't have known that Megan was going to say that. For me, I have mentors that I've looked up to that have helped me one-to-one directly. I think it's highly important. It's like with anything, any culture, any society, there are elders, there are those who know and those who need to know, and you're not going to get okay, newsflash, okay, we paid tuition, everybody's feeling good going into the holidays. You're not going to get everything you need to know from college. So, sorry about that, yeah. You know everything you need to know from college. So you're going to need people who have experienced it. You're going to need mentors and parental types and big brothers and sister types that are going to help you through it. When I first went out on my own to be a creative consultant, one of my mentors, he didn't just give me good advice, he sent me his contract form and said, replace my name with your name, and this has been checked out by my spouse who is a lawyer. Best of luck to you. You now have a viable contract that will stand up in a court of law. I couldn't have gotten started if my mentor didn't look out for me that way. Another mentor of mine that I recently said I was out visiting, I went to speak to his class that he teaches at UCLA. I don't get that kind of exposure if I don't have someone who believes in me. Your mentor is not always just a person that is doling out advice. They also admire you. Having a mentor is a two-way street. This person believes in you enough to spend time, give advice, help you out in that way. It's not just a handout. So it's kind of a symbiotic relationship, and that helps you gain experience and gain knowledge, and then hopefully maybe help someone else.
Mentors have been a big deal to me in my career too. But most of my mentors are actually technically my peers. They're people who are with me in the business community or in the arts community, and they're leaders, and they're having success kind of figuring out alongside me. I really like to work with people who are outside of my industry in particular. Honestly, I'm not saying this because they're here. Dustin was immensely helpful to me, and I'm very motivated to make my mentors proud, to make them feel like their investment of time in me, of all the dinners they've paid for, and all the wine they've paid for, and all the advice they've just given me was worth their time. And so, because helping people and being a mentor is an investment of time. And I've told people honestly, like, I can give you some advice, but I don't know how regular of a thing this can be just because of my own commitments. But I think that there's enough success to go around. It's not like a pie where eventually all the pieces will be gone. So I think that sharing knowledge and sharing advice should be free, and that's what we should all do the more we learn.
One of the reasons why we started Silver Print News was, like I had said, to find people like us. Right? I felt like when I started my first company that I was on an island, that I was the only one in the history of people that had started a company like mine. And again, it's just because we just didn't know the people. There wasn't a network. There wasn't a connectivity into people and peers who were doing similar things. And so, I've spent the better part of 6 years really building that network and helping other people get tapped into that network in an easy way. And so whether that's mentorship or whether that's just sort of, I'm kind of like Megan in that I get really excited about working alongside and helping my peers